Last time on the poker vlog.
I know. He could have a full house. He didn't.
A miracle indeed, with Jack, Queen, Jack, Rainbow on the flop, followed by a donk lead from the small blind for $50. But I have the nut flush draw and high hopes and big dreams. So I jam my 441 that I have behind. Hey, what up guys? Welcome to another episode of the poker vlog. Happy Face Hold'em. We're down here today at Hollywood Park Casino, and behind me, this is SoFi Stadium where the Rams and the Chargers play. We are here to play a daily tournament. It's a $150 buy-in. It's usually around $4,000 or $5,000 up top. We start with 30,000 in chips. Let's go do it. And it's finally cold enough in LA. I get to rock the Happy Face Hold'em merchandise. We got the nice Charlie logo there, and we got the Happy Face Hold'em down the side here. Gotta love it. Go check it out at happyfaceholdem.com. I would greatly appreciate it. Great way to support vloggers and their channels since we're bringing you content for free. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. Oh, meetup game, January 9th, Hustler Casino, noon to 6 p.m. 2-3 No Limit Holdem with a $100 to $500 maximum buy-in. Come join us. Sign up on Poker Atlas. All right, let's go. We buy in for $150 into this tournament, and we get started in level 1 with Ace Jack offsuit in the hijack, and we waste no time opening the action. 4x, 4 big blinds here. I haven't vlogged one of these tournaments yet, but if you follow me on Instagram, you know I played a $500 event here in October and min cash for 940, placing 21st of 241 players. I then played a Friday daily for 150 after Thanksgiving and cashed for 1890, taking third place money out of a 143 player starting field. And I made one other attempt and busted out midfield. So 2 for 3 here at Hollywood Park. I'm feeling pretty good going into this session. All right, back to the hand. Only the big blind will defend this one as we go heads up off to a flop, looking to chip up in early levels to give us the best chance of making the final table. We get a lovely little flop of 4-7 ace with 2 spades, and the big blind plays in flow and checks to us. No need to slow play with top pair, a decent kicker, and the spade blocker. We see bet to 400. It doesn't take long for the big blind to continue to come along, and he makes the call. Off to the turn, we see the 3 of hearts hit the board, bringing in a backdoor heart draw to go with the spade draw, and the big blind checks and flow again. We size up this time to $1,200, looking to just take this one down here. But the big blind decides he needs to see one more card and makes the 1,200 call, building this pot to 4,100. I think if I'm up against ace rag that has 2 pair, ace queen or ace king, I hear from the big blind in the form of a raise. So off to the river, we get the 5 of diamonds, bricking flush draws, but putting a 4-liner to the wheel. So when he checks, I'm happy to check this one back, and we scoop our first pot of the tournament. A lot of hands in level 1 to cover, and introduce the OMC across the table. He limps from under the gun. It's never a good sign when an older type player limps from early position. In my experience, it generally spells disaster, and this hand is no exception. The player in the hijack decides to raise the action to 5x, and the cutoff quickly makes the call behind. Sitting on the button, we look down at Jack 9 of clubs, and playing in position with a hand that plays well multi-way, we make the call. The small blind folds, followed by the big blind defending, and our OMC making the call for 400 more. We're 5 ways with 2,100 in the pot, off to see a flop, and what a flop it is, and we drill top pair on a pretty dry board, 9-5-3 rainbow. Action checks to the OMC who bets out 600. Now, it's obvious to all of you watching he has an overpair, like queens, kings, or maybe even aces, right? After all, this is a typical OMC limp call pre-flop and lead small pot post-flop. Well, you all know it, but I don't. So I opt on the unconventional play and I put in a raise to 1,500 after everyone else folds to me. Of course, they all know exactly what you know, and under the gun makes the call. As the 2 of diamond peels off, he checks to me, and now I'm older and wiser and I check behind. We get a king on the river, not changing anything, and when he checks to me again, I consider firing, but my wisdom tells me to check again. He rolls over 2 pair, king 9, having us beat the whole way. OMC 1, me 0. Okay, still in level 1, we open 4x again from under the gun, looking at a suited ace 8, and plus 2, he decides to make the call. The big blind makes the call to defend for just a little more, and we'll be going to a flop 3 ways. This has been a theme on the vlog lately. Flopping nut flush draws, and this is no exception on the 7-4-4 2 heart board. Although the big blind should have all the fours in range, I think this is a good board to c-bet on, as likely I'm getting pre-flop calls to my raise with bigger cards by these two particular players. So I continue for 1,000, and that's going to be the perfect amount to take this one down and get back to even on the day. In the next hand, +1 opens our OMC to 900, still in level 1, so this is a 9x open. That's huge. Interesting when the hijack and the cutoff both make the calls, bloating this pot pre-flop. So we make the call from the big blind with suited Broadway cards. 4 ways, we get a jack, jack, jack flop. I check to the OMC and he fires 1,000, about 1/3 pot. Everyone else folds, but I'm not done with my hand just yet. I consider a fold, but with a backdoor straight, backdoor flush, backdoor straight flush, and 1 over, thinking I could be up against aces, kings, queens, ace king, or ace queen, I make the call. We boat up on the turn with the 10 of diamonds. I really want to tie the score against this player, so I check, and he quickly fires again, but this time tiny for just 1,000. No need to raise, as I still could be up against aces through queens, and I suppose a single jack of diamonds, so I call. The river, in my opinion, is pretty nice with the queen of hearts. Ace king makes a straight. Kings and aces are still ahead, but now my hand is really strong, and if he doesn't have quads, I can put his overpair in a tough spot. I take the lead and bet out 4,000, although I think overbetting is a way better play in this spot. He just about snap calls, and it was this hand he wakes up with aces, but you all knew that too. OMC 2, me 0, but I'm a graceful loser.
Nice hand, sir. Nice hand.
Under the gun opens the 700, now in level 3 with blinds at 100, 300, 300, and we have a sexy looking 8-9 of spades on the button with 22k in our stack. There were a total of 4 callers plus me, so we're 6 ways to a flop, but in position. We flop decent with 7, king 10, 2 diamonds, an up and down draw for us. The OMC leads out for 1,500, with the score 2-0 him. I guess he's going for the hat trick, but not so fast. +1 makes the call, followed by the cutoff. So our pot is growing. In this tournament, you can re-enter before the end of the break, which happens after level 4, if you're felted, or you can surrender your stack and re-enter. In level 3 now, and down on chips, this is a make or break spot for me. So I go with a raise. I make it 10k to go. Happy to take it down here, but definitely wanting to charge anyone that might be on a flush draw. Okay, chalk up a win against our buddy in under the gun. As he folds, we're going to move the score 2-1. The +1 player says, "That's a hell of a bet. I don't know what to do with it," then proceeds to fold. The cutoff must have seen my cards and jams his remaining stack of 19.5k, and I snap it off, as mentioned, knowing I can re-enter with a fresh 30,000. Let's go to a run out and hope to fade a ton. We drill our straight immediately and fade diamonds for the win, scooping almost 60k with our eyes focused on the final table. In the next one we limp, and our buddy doesn't want us to even the score and raises to 1,700. Now in level 4 with the blinds at 200, 400, 400. The big blind defends this 4x open, and with a suited ace-9 of clubs, I'm not going anywhere. And we make the call. 3 ways to a flop, and I'm the short stack in the hand. We get 5, 7 deuce, 2 diamonds, and a heart. Action checks to our buddy, and he fires a huge 5k at this 5,700 pot. There's nothing we can do but fold. Moving the score, 3-1 OMC. Last hand to level 4, and my bladder isn't happy. The breaks are only 10 minutes here, and we should be on break, but our dealer's a tad slow. We limp with 3 other players going to a flop 4 ways of king, 5, 3, 2 diamonds, and the action quickly checks through. The turn gives us top pair with the ace of diamonds, so we lead for 1,000. Our buddy here doesn't want us closing the gap in the score and min raises to 2 grand. The cutoff calls, and I hesitantly make the call for 1k more. After all, the diamond draw completed. The river brings yet another diamond in the way of a 3, and after the action checks to the OMC, he fires again. However, this time the cutoff raises to 7,000. I just get out of the way. The OMC ended up winning the hand. He turned the flush. Back from the break, on to level 5, blinds are 300, 600, 600. It's 5-1 OMC. Plus 2 limps, we have another sexy looking hand, this time 10-9 of spades. They kind of look like pocket aces. Sort of. Well, in a way. We overlimp, which is a horrible strategy with a hand like this. We should be folding or 3-betting. But we're back to about our starting stack on the day with big hopes on the final table. Afraid we've been playing way too conservatively. The small blind jams 15k, punishing us almost immediately. And one by one the players start to fold behind. We could push it here, but likely any weak ace or better is making this jam. At 25 big blinds, it's just too big, and we fold as well. He flashes one queen at us, and he says, this never holds up. So assuming ace queen there, possibly pocket queens. We open the next hand now in level 6 to 1900 with blinds at 400, 800, 800, sitting in the +1 seat with pocket 10s and 39k in our stack after winning a few small pots. The small blind makes the call for 1900 and the big blind defends for a few chips more. Take a second and ring the notification bell. It brought a miracle in the last vlog, and we might need it here. Thank you. And damn, that did the trick. Our first time flopping quads on the vlog. And the action checks through. The turn's a brick and really doesn't help anyone catch up, but when it checks to me, we need to build this pot, so we bet 1/3 pot for about 2k. Sadly, we're rewarded with a bunch of quick folds, and we scoop a little one. Still chipping back up, with our eyes still on the final table. Now on to level 7. Blinds are moving up. They're at 600, 1200, 1200, and we're sitting in the big blind. Our buddy wants to improve his score and min raises to 2400 from +1. As the action moves around, the button makes the call for 2400, and we have another sexy looking hand. Not getting monsters today, but this is a playable hand multi-way, so we make the call and we defend our big blind. 3 ways to a flop out of position with 8400 in and looking to close the 5-1 score gap against our buddy across from us. We flop another up and down draw in the way of 5 king 6 rainbow. Me and the OMC both check, and the button takes a moment to decide that he wants to invest into this pot. He goes for a wager of 3000. I consider the check raise, but likely behind and too many chips at 35 big blinds to risk it all. So we make the call. +2 quickly calls behind us, growing this pot to over 17k. The queen of spades on the turn now gives us a combo draw, and we seriously consider potting it here. Although we're still behind and focused on the final table in our near future. We ultimately opt to check, and both players check behind. We brick the river and quickly realize a turn bet could have probably taken this pot down. We're left with only a check, basically giving up. +1 pretty quickly jams his remaining stack behind us. The button has a decision on his hands, and the way he's thinking about calling or 3-betting now makes me happy I checked the turn. He ultimately decides to call, giving me the chance to fold. The players both expose their hands, pocket 10s from our OMC, and King Jack from the button. He's going to take this one down and knocks out our OMC buddy. OMC 6, Vlogger 1, but does that mean we won because we're still in? Anyways, level 7, we limp the low jack, looking down at a playable 10-8 of hearts. I imagine there's 201 ways to play this hand, and limping in late position is probably not one of them. The future looks brighter now that I've just learned a lesson. The cutoff min raises behind us, and we make the call, closing the action. We're going to go 3 ways to a flop with 42,000 in our starting stack for this hand. And isn't that just a boner killer? Jack, Jack, 4, 2 clubs. I guess we have a backdoor straight. Is that too optimistic to think of calling? The cutoff C bets to 3,200, and yes, too optimistic. So I do find one of the 200 ways to play this hand by folding and looking for a better spot. This was a tough day. A lot of playable suited connectors and one-gappers, but no real big hands yet to really give us an edge. But with 35 big blinds, we're holding onto our own. On to level 8 and still surviving, blinds are at 800, 1600, 1600, and we're down to 27k in our stack after losing a few and blinding off. The OMC has been replaced by a new player, and Under the Gun limps this one. Mario over there hits the table in some sort of frustration and then puts in a raise. Did you see it? Let me run it back for you. I make note of this information, and I'll make a note of the hand he did this with should we find out. There's some talk to my right trying to figure out how much behind Mario has, and after some tanking, the small blind, he opts to jam for 50,000 or 31 big blinds, isolating the aggressor. Well, we look at ace rag offsuit, and being a little on the short side, I can justify jamming, but not with a raise and a 3-bet ahead of me, so I just fold. Let's go ahead and listen into what happens next.
I know you got a monster.
What you got?
I have a little pair. But you probably have a bigger pair.
And with that, Mario mucks, not confident in the size of his pair. As our buddy Steve says, sometimes it's better to have the balls than to have the nuts. You can meet and play poker with Steve and I, along with Fish Poker, Doug McCusker, and Andrew Locke on January 9th at the Hustler Casino. We're having a meetup game. Sign up on Poker Atlas and stay tuned to the very end to see what's coming up next on Happy Face Hold'em. We open this one to 8,000 in level 9 with blinds at 1K, 2K, 2K, and should just be open jamming with 10 big blinds, but we didn't. Just 8K. Plus 1 has us covered in jams. For our tournament life, we make the call, and let's go to a run out. We're up against pocket 8s. This looks like a good spot to be in. And there's an 8, right on the flop. Ugh. And we cannot improve, and we bust this one. All right, well, that didn't go all that well. We made it through level, 11. Blinds were 1K, 2K, 2K, big blind ante. We had 20,000 our stacks with 10 big blinds. We wake up with pocket 10s. We open 2.5 big blinds, 2.5x or so, whatever it was, you saw it. Guy goes all in. I should have just open jammed. Probably would have saved me for another hand, but I didn't. He jams, and yeah, we get, we're up against pocket 8s. So, I mean, so the situation was good. If you ask me, the situation was good. 10s versus 8s. We just couldn't get there. So anyways, we do not live to see another day in this tournament. But we're 2 for 4 here. So we've done well. That's why we played it, and we'll be back to play it again. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Always appreciate being here. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe down below if you haven't already. And don't forget, guys, wash your hands.
Next time on Happy Face Hold'em.
It was just incredible. Here's a picture of the board. So it was great. All right, stay with me. More flopping flush draws, hoping to get paid. Flopping the nuts more often than California earthquakes. Hope to see you guys on the next Happy Face Hold'em.